on to another background building video. So this one was actually a request from a lovely lady called Vanessa, and she saw my video that I just re-uploaded to this channel. That was my 5 ways of using galaxies on your cards, which was actually a feature in an issue of Papercraft Essentials. And she was asking, have I ever done a tutorial on how I created a galaxy background? And I haven't, so other than in magazines. So I thought I would actually do one as my background building video for this month. So I think she said her favourite colours were blues and greens, so I'm going to go with this kind of a colour palette. And I'm using Oxides. Both the magazine features I've done in the past creating galaxies have both been with Distress Oxides. The one she was referring to, I'm going to show you the way, well, I think the way, I can't actually remember exactly how I did it, but I think this is the way I did it. And the other feature that I'd done, I was actually showing different ways of doing your galaxy. So I started off with the base of the Oxides, but instead of just using black Distress ink on the top, I'd actually used watered down black ash Nuvo mousse. I'd used watered down I think it's called graphite gilding polish. I'd used black acrylic paint as well, and I just used normal black watercolour. I think I might have used something else too, maybe an acrylic ink or something. But anyway, for this one I'm going to show you how to do your kind of watercolour-y background using your Oxides, and then using your black Soot Distress ink, not Oxide, over the top, ink blending once it's dry. And the reason why I use ink rather than Oxide is because the inks are more translucent, so you're not going to hide too much of the colours. And I think on that one I might have actually gone over it with a bit of blue as well, so I'm going to get out my chipped sapphire too, so I might add in a little bit of chipped sapphire with the black Soot. And in that magazine feature, the galaxies were more of a pink or purple base, but you can use any colours underneath. So I'm doing blues and greens today, but you could make it orangey yellows underneath. Any of your favourite colours would work. You just want to make sure, well, I suppose it doesn't really matter actually. I was going to say make sure to use colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel so you don't get mud, but if you're going to cover it in black anyway, it probably doesn't really matter if you get any muddy effects. So we're going to do like a loose watercolour thing, so I've just got a little pot and I'm just going to pour some water in it so it's easy. Then I want to just make my little palette of colours by squishing out some of these. You can use re-inkers as well. Some of my colours of Oxide I only have in a re-inker because I just wanted them for like techniques, so you can easily use your re-inkers too. And then I'm going to spray each of these so it already waters it down a little bit. And then I'm just going to get my wet brush. Actually, first I'm going to spray underneath my card so it stays flatter as well. And so I'm just going to wet my brush and then pick up the colours and just do a really messy, like watercolour-y kind of thing. It doesn't matter where you put the colours at all because we're going to cover it with black anyway. You do want to try and get as good a coverage as you can over the whole card really, but yeah, the way you do it doesn't really matter. It can be really messy or neat, whatever way you like to work really. So just getting on loads of colour, and if you want it to be more intense in places you can always let it dry and then come back and add some more colour too. So I might do that. Keep adding water whenever you feel like you want to. Just really, really messy. Does not matter at all if it's neat or messy. Okay, so I'm quickly going to dry that, and then I might add a little bit more colour onto it just to make it a little bit deeper in places. Okay, so to add a little bit more of each of the colours, I'm going to squish out some more, but not into the puddle that I just made. I'm doing it next to it, because you don't want to get water in your ink pad. So maybe a little bit more. And then a bit more cracked pistachio. Oh yeah, I didn't say the colours, did I? Sorry. Cracked pistachio, broken china and twisted citron are the colours I'm using for the main part. I think I just said blues and greens before. Okay, so I'm going to intensify the colour just in a few little places. You don't have to do this, you can do whatever you like really. Just create any kind of messy watercolory background, and you don't have to use your oxides either. Just both the magazine commissions I've done with galaxies, I've used the oxides, but you could equally do this with your Distress inks if you want to, or a real watercolour palette, whatever really, just to get, you just want a messy inky background, and you can even ink blend it too if you wanted to. So I think that looks good. So I'm just going to clean up and dry this as well, and I'll be back in a second. So now our background is completely dry, we want to move on to the next step, which is going to be ink blending on the dark colours on the top. And as I said before, I'm definitely using the normal Distress ink black soot, and I might add in a little bit of chipped sapphire as well. So you just want to saturate your sponge with the ink and then just ink blend as normal. You can go quite lightly to begin with, and then in some areas really deepen up the colour. I mean, if there's a bit of your background that you really don't like and you felt like it went really bad, like a big messy blobby part, just make sure you put your darker areas of black over the top of that, and then no one's really going to see it. It's very scratchy. And I'm just using a mini ink blending tool. You can use the new Nuvo ones that have come out. I've lost where I put mine. The one that came in a kit before. Or you can use these new kind of brushes, the like toothbrush style makeup brushes. I really like using these actually. Or you can use a piece of cut and dry foam as well. Any way you like to add your ink is like perfect for this. Yep, so just keep on adding your dark colours. You want to have a light layer of the dark over everywhere, so like this kind of a light layer definitely over everywhere, and then you just want to darken it up in some places. Whoops. I'm going to make this into 2 cards as well. So I'm going to have 2 landscape cards, I think. So I'm trying to balance the dark areas on both halves of this card, because I know it's going to be cut into 2 pieces. So I'm just going with a big dark area there, one there, and then I might add another big dark bit off to one side here. So we're going to chop it in half there. So I think that looks pretty decent. And I think I am going to come in with a little bit of the dark blue, because we've used blues in the background as well. It's going to look good. It just gives a little bit of variation as well to the background. Just in a few places. It's probably not that visible, but it's just something extra to do. Okay. Then, again, as I said at the beginning, I can't remember exactly how I did the galaxies. I could go and find the magazine and actually look at the step-by-step tutorial that I did on how to make them, but I'm too lazy, so I'm just going to go with what I think I did. So that is our main background, which already looks pretty galaxy-like. And then I think I added 2 layers of stars in different things. So the first layer, I did it with you can either use the Spectrum Noir sparkle pens or the Tonic glitter gloss ones, whichever ones you want to use. Both of these ones, they've got washi tape on, which means they're ones I've already added water to, so I'm not wasting my full strength of a glittery sparkly thing. So I'm not sure how much glitter is left in either of these, but let's just see which one looks most glittery. They're both about the same really, so I'll just use a mixture. And the great thing about these, I love these ones, because they're just as brilliant quality as the actual water brushes from Tonic. So as soon as my sparkly one has stopped being sparkly, I mean, I've filled this one up 3 times now and it's still got sparkle in it. I've just filled it up with water. But as soon as that stops being sparkly, I'm just going to keep it as a water brush pen. Anyway, that was a tangent, but okay, then I'm going to take a small round paintbrush. This is a number 1, but any like small round paintbrush, these were just cheapy ones I got on Amazon. It was like a full set of like 12 different brushes, with this being like one of the biggest ones and then going down to smaller ones, and it was like £5, so really cheap kind of brushes, but whatever brushes you have you can use. And then you just want to saturate the bristles with your glittery, sparkly stuff, and I think you can see, yeah, just keep splattering really gently. This is how I get my little speckly splatters in my backgrounds anyway, that I like doing. So just adopt that same process that you'd usually use to get little splatters on your backgrounds, and you just want to do it all over, just to get a good coverage. And this should pick up some of the black that we've just put on there and kind of bring the colour back through. That's what it should do, so hopefully it will. You can just leave it for a few seconds really, not too long, and then just roll this over, and you can kind of see it's sort of brought back some of the colour, or gone back or straight down to the cardstock to bring a white kind of effect. So I think that looks good, and we've also got that hint of sparkle. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up on camera, but there is a little hint of sparkle in those sort of stars. So I'm now going to just quickly mop the rest of that up. You could just use plain water for that step as well if you want to. You don't have to have a sparkle pen. I just think it adds something extra. Then I'm going to dry that. Then the next step is to add our second layer of stars, which you can either use white gesso or if I can, oh sorry, straw, or like just a normal white acrylic paint, whichever you want to use. Which one do I fancy today? I'm going to use the acrylic paint, I think, but whichever one works perfectly. So you just want to squeeze out a little bit of paint. And this is where I make a mess, by the way. This is the messy part of a galaxy. If you could see my camera right now, because it sits right above where I'm working, it has still got white splatters on from the last time I did this, which was months ago. So, yeah, it's a little bit messy, this process, but it gives a really great effect. So, to try and contain the mess a bit, you can actually like take your roll of kitchen roll and put it up behind where you're working, so you don't sort of splash everything that you own that's on your desk. But you probably will get it on your face and all over your camera if you film videos. But it looks really good when you've done it, so it's kind of worth it. Till you answer the door and realise you had white specks of acrylic paint all over your face. But anyway, so you want to add a bit of water to your paint. You want it to be, that's still a bit, oh you can't really see it, can you? That's still a bit thick. You want it to be kind of like double cream, I suppose, that kind of consistency. You can test it and see. So if we start trying to flick it the same way as we did with the other, that looks good consistency. And if you flick more viciously, you get that sort of spattering of dots of stars. So if I zoom in a bit, you can probably see it. Like, you can get really cool constellations of stars in your background, because you kind of want to, you don't want this to be all over. You want the white to sort of be more concentrated in areas to give that kind of constellation look. I can already feel it hitting my face. Okay, a little bit more. There we go. So that is our galaxy background, which I think looks pretty cool already, and I've got white paint all over my face. But anyway, it's worth it to get the stars on your work. Yeah, so actually I might want a little bit more on that side, just when I pack it all up. Anyway, so just one more little flick on this side, I think. There we go, perfect. Okay, so I'll just clear up and then I'll come back. Okay, so that's our finished and dried galaxy background. So I'm hoping that's helped a few of you out that have been struggling with trying to get a galaxy background. But I'm also going to just quickly finish these cards as well, actually. I wanted to make them a thank you card, and I'm going to send one to Vanessa as well. So I'm going to chop this in half, and I'm just going to do a really simple kind of card because you don't want to detract too much from your gorgeous galaxy that you've created. And I'm actually going to use this Simon Says Stamp die that's thank you. I really love this scripty thank you. And the main reason why I want to use this one is because it works nicely on a landscape card and you get the bubble with it as well. So I'm going to tape the two together and then I'll show you how I'm going to do it, because it really makes the word stand out as well, because you're going to take the outside piece away to leave you with the white of the card blank below. So I'm going to die cut these with my stitched rectangle die, which is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I'm just going to literally put the thank you right in the centre and cut it out, just like that. So, if I tape this down as well, I might as well make both of them the same, and then I'm going to add some star sequins onto it too. So let me just cut these out. I'm going to use my little half plates because they're smaller enough to do this with. And these half plates that I keep using in videos that you may have seen, you can just get a second set of your Tonic Tangerine plates and cut them in half to create them. Or these ones are actually the junior plates from the Spellbinder's Grand Caliber, so I'll try and remember to link them below as well. I just find it so helpful for like, because I make a lot of smaller cards and sometimes you don't want the whole A4 platform, although it's useful for a lot of things, you don't always need it. So that is the first one done, and then I'll just cut the second one and then we'll finish the cards. You've also got that cool piece to use on another card if you wanted to as well. Okay, so that's that one, and I'll poke these pieces out. And I'll do the other one. But you can see just how quick it was to make the galaxy background as well. I mean, I've stopped and started the video a few times, so I'm not sure exactly how long it took me to create the galaxy, but it's a really quick process. You know, you can make quite a few of them in a day if you're in the mood to do that kind of thing. And if you're doing a few of them, you wouldn't even have to dry them in between, because you can just leave them to dry whilst you're doing the next few. Okay, so that's both of them die cut. I'll just show me finishing one of the cards off because they're both going to be the same. So how we're going to do it is I'm going to take a white card blank and fold it in half. I've been using square ones at the moment because they've been really cheap at Hobbycraft. There's like £2.50 for a pack of 50 square white card blanks, and with my favourite size of rectangle, the folds at the top here, I can make a card that's a top folding or side folding, but I can also make a card that's top folding portrait or side folding landscape, which I've been really enjoying actually. So I'm gonna do side folding landscape for this one. Okay, so that's our card blank. Then, to go with the sparkly theme, actually, I'm going to add some sparkle here, where that aperture is going to be. So I'm going to use my non-watered down glitter gloss pen, so it will be really nice and sparkly. And then, if I go like that, I'll kind of know where I'm going. I'm just going to add it across that whole aperture area, so that we'll get some gorgeous sparkle showing through. Okay, I think that's enough. You might not be able to see it. Oh, you can, yeah. And I'm just going to dry that, obviously. Okay, so that is dry and really nice and sparkly. And then all we're going to do is raise this one up with 3D foam and then stick the thank you, which will match up perfectly because we cut it perfectly out of the background, and just put that inside. I think that looks like a really great masculine card as well. I'm actually sending this to Vanessa, but it does give a really good masculine card for galaxies. They do give that really good masculine feel, but you can easily make it look more feminine by adding some sequins to it, which is what I'm going to do in a minute. And also at this stage, you could put a piece of acetate over there and make it into a shaker card as well. But I'm just going to go for a raised panel card for this one. Okay, I think that's enough. Then I'm just going to stick this down. Just like that. And then stick down the sentiment as well. This is just Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive, but I put it in a fine tip bottle. And then just gonna add it to the back. I don't think I usually actually finish the card in a background building video, but I thought why not for this one. I just put it on the back of my hand just to spread the glue around so it doesn't squidge out. I mean, it wouldn't matter too much, but if any of the Oxide ink got onto your wet glue that had squidged out the side, it might colour it. So it's better to try and avoid getting the glue outside of it if you can. Okay, so that is the main basis of the card. Now there's a couple of things you need to think about when adding embellishments to a card like this. So you could add Nuvo crystal drops, but if you do add them directly onto it, it's going to pick up some of the colour from the background, so you'd probably want to pre-make them so that they would stay white to be like other stars. Or you can go with adding like confetti or sequins, but again, if they're a clear one or something, you're going to have to be really careful with your glue in case it picks up the colour. So what am I going to do for mine? Oh, actually, I've got these, haven't I? I don't know if I've got any small ones though. I think on my cards in the magazine, I think I did something with silver stars. So I've got some of these and I've got these ones. So I think I'm going to go with a couple of sizes of silver stars and then these ones, which are like a circle with a star in. I've had these for donkey's years, so I don't know where they're from, but I really like them and I keep using them. So I'm going to use a couple of them. It probably does still look a bit masculine, doesn't it? But I don't think she'll mind. I think she'll appreciate the galaxy card, hopefully. Yep, so then I think add 3 of these. I do like to add an odd number of sequins and things. I could just keep it with 5, or I can keep the big star and add one more little star over there, which I think, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I could switch that order around. Yep, that looks better. So I'm going to be careful with my glue and not add too much so it doesn't squidge out. You can either add it straight to the card or onto the sequin, whichever. It's easier with those ones with the star missing in the centre to add it to the sequin, because otherwise I always end up wanting to put the star over the top of where I just put the blob of glue, and then you'd see it through it. And then put that one there, and then the last one over there. So I think that's it. That's my galaxy card. So I hope you enjoyed this background building video. Because I've been merging my channels, I was keeping up with one background building video every month, but because I've now merged them, they kind of ended up in an odd order and going up at different times. So I'm not sure how consistent this series is going to be, but I have plenty of ideas for my background building videos, so hopefully there will be lots more of them. But I hope you enjoyed this one on how to create a galaxy background. And don't forget, you can use whatever colours you like for the base of your galaxy too. You don't have to stick to blues and greens. It can be pinks and purples, yellows and oranges and reds, a whole rainbow if you want it to be. So thank you for watching. Bye!